Hello, hello. This is Yuri with Moving Sales Professionals and the Let's Talk Moving podcast. And with me today, I have Devon Berke, owner and CEO of United American Van Lines, coming out with another branch in Brentwood, California soon, but joining us for the podcast today. How you doing today, Devon?
Another day in paradise. Thank you for asking about yourself.
Good, good, good. I'm sure it's a lot more paradisey in California than it is in the Maryland.
I'm actually in Florida right now.
Likewise, Florida is nicer than Maryland this time of year. Okay. So, Devon, how did you get started in the moving industry?
Actually, was kind of like coming out of. I was a stockbroker for about 9 years, and it took me a little bit to realize that I wasn't doing I wasn't doing the right thing. Yes, I was making a killing. I was doing it great, better than great at skipping school at 17 years old to go work in a sales office and making 250 grand a month. But I couldn't sleep at night, so to speak, and that's very important to me. The way I guess I was raised, having the morals, which unfortunately this business doesn't have a lot of. But there are at the same time the people that do, and in doing jobs the right way, not cutting corners. And if you got to put out a little bit of money out of your pocket, so be it. You know, and I've always lived by that, and also by my salespeople. We were talking about it earlier about taking care of them first, and they when 21, 22-year-old kid comes in off the street and you tell him he's going to make 3, 4, 5 grand, 6, 10 a week, they laugh at you. And they're like, "Yeah, right, it's never going to happen." And then when they see it, and then you change. I don't say it change people's lives, but you literally change people's lives with the money, and it's something that has kept me doing it. I sold, like we talked about before, I sold one of them when I was 26 for something I thought I'd be able to retire on back then, but that wasn't going to happen. $3 million at 26 years old is not retiring. But what got me started, so I actually started, and I don't know if you mind me name dropping out there, at American Van Lines with Aldo Sorbo, and it was actually 3 companies in the same place that we'd be sitting right next to the person or right across from the person that's selling for Colonial, the other company. It was a brilliant idea because all the deals are staying in house.
Oh, I know. And now for a quick message from our sponsors. For a limited time only, we have partnered with an SEO and marketing company with discounted rates for their services. Schedule an appointment via Calendly link below to learn more. Thank you. And now getting back to the podcast. A couple of places that do that. So.
And, I'm like, but we had 250 people in that office. There was a lot, 250 salespeople in that office. And it got crazy. It was just to the point of, the commission wasn't, we were getting like 4 or 5%. And that's with bonus, with everything else.
My people definitely make more than that.
Yeah, and that's my point. What we were talking about earlier before we started was, you take care of your people, and your money's going to come. It's going to follow. And I've always believed in that as far as that, because I have a kid that's 24 years old. That I stay out of his business. I try to, but yeah, Josh can put me out there too. He literally makes 8 to 10 every single weekend. It doesn't matter if it's the middle of December, January. And he works 3 days a week, and I can't say anything to him because he books clean. He's probably one of the cleanest bookers I've ever come across. Like, he doesn't even stray the lines. And I recognize that more than even the financial portion of it as far as, numbers on the board. Because if you can book like that and you can put numbers like that up at the same time, everybody else should be able to do the same thing. Or you're
Well,
in
yeah,
the
of
wrong
course.
place.
When you have somebody, when you have high hitters in your office, they raise the bar for everybody.
Because
And then at the
I
same
mean,
time, people around them, they hear what they're doing and they start picking up things that they're doing. And that makes everybody better.
I call it ear hustling.
Yeah.
Listen, I still to this day, if I hear a line I like from somebody, I'm like, I'm taking it from them. Sorry. I'm stealing it. It's
Hey, I
happening.
want my people to share that stuff. We have a whole channel going for our one-liners and everything, stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's extremely important. I agree. So when did you figure out that you can do this by yourself? And now for a quick message from our sponsors. If you're a moving business owner, you may have already heard of Moversville, an email marketing service that helps moving companies increase, repeat, and referral business. But have you heard of Moversville Connect? Moversville Connect is an incredible resource for all things moving. They feature an array of vendors and services that cater specifically to the moving industry. You can find companies that provide moving software, moving sales services, marketing services, moving equipment providers, and much, much more. Visit moversville.com to learn more.
It's about 5 years, and I was like, I think I just, everybody has their bad week here, and I think I had a bad week. Why am I like I could do this, get on the phone by myself, and that's how I started. I was on the phone by myself, and I was not so much kind of like what you do with 799 booking agent, not really a booking agent technically, but for this guy in Colorado, I can't remember his name, stick my head. But I'm seeing them getting 30 or 35% of the whole job, not breaking things out and take, brokers like to you get 12% of this, 15%. Then you take that in half, and it's like, listen, I don't need to do long division and figure out how much money I make. I know what I gotta make, but it took me to the point of like I've always been a very motivated person. Like I can't sit still. I'm surprised I've sat still this whole time, not been walking around my office, like yelling at people, making people have fun if they're quiet, throwing nerf balls at them or something. But we like to have fun in here, and all of us. And it's a because if the old adage, if someone's in a bad mood, everybody's going to be in a bad mood by the end of the day. It's like a cancer that spreads to the office, and I don't let that happen.
Yeah, and I think that's important too. It's kind of the same thing that I tell my sales reps is that if you get somebody, they laugh at me, right? They because they've heard me go, ma'am, ma'am. Okay, ma'am, you're yelling at me, ma'am. If you don't stop yelling at me, I will hang up. Ma'am, you're still yelling at me. I'm gonna hang up now. When you calm down, you can call me back and we can talk about it.
14 minutes later, you're still saying, "Ma'am."
No, I'm hanging out at that point. But my point is this: it's like there's you want people to respect yourself. You don't want because of one moron. You don't want them to screw up their whole day of things that they could be doing.
Absolutely, and because that one. And sometimes I'll even go as far as just feeding somebody. If I know they're a good booker, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, and they're having a bad week. A deal comes in office, I'll slide it over to them. Close this up. It's already ready to be wrapped up. Just wrap the deal up and.
Yeah, sometimes it's just one good conversation, that one extra booking that just completely changes the dynamic.
Change it, and then by the end of the week, he's got 10, 20 grand in gross on the board. So, taking care of your people is a big thing. In any marketing, telemarketing. People are like, "Oh, what do you do? You're a telemarketer. What do you do?" I'm a machine. Be like, you can call me what you want. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm way past that point. But I mean,
So speaking of that, where are you now?
Last year, 6.9 was profit.
That's clear after everything, after expenses.
Triple net.
Awesome. Because
Triple
that's
net.
because like okay, so I go to Massaro events, obviously. I've been to a few of them, right? And
I
I hear
still,
people walking around and talking, well, how much do you make? How much? And all these numbers are being dropped. And I'm going like, okay, there's a guy here in from California, there's a guy here in Maryland. The guy in California has a lot more expenses than the guy in Maryland, right? So the guy in California, the fact that he's dropping, telling you, oh, 20 million, and the guy in Maryland that's saying, oh, 8, the guy in Maryland's probably at the end of the day is taking home more money than the 20 million guy in California, because the 20 million guy is paying more for trucks, he's paying more for insurance, he's paying more for gas, he's paying more for warehouse, he's paying more for supplies. So it's like it doesn't matter what your number is at the end of the year. What matters is how much, what's the bacon, how much are you taking home after all the expense, after you paid your people. That's the number that's important. The rest, what does it mean, really?
and my November through January, like I am nowhere to be found. There's no phone on me. There's no computer. I am gone. If you guys want to come into the office and work, feel free. There'll be leads there. There'll be everything you want, but you will not see me. Don't call me. I disappear for 2.5 months.
Must be nice. I can't do that yet. One day. One day. I
So
disappear for a week, and it's, you know, and I'm like,
I get the same way though. My ex used to be like, just stop, just forget about it for a little while. We're fine. We're fine.
but when it's your baby, it's hard to do that. When it's your baby, it's hard to do that.
It is, but 20 years of grinding. When these people call you at 3 o'clock in the morning, where's my stuff? I just picked you up an hour ago. What do you mean, where's my stuff? I'm
Right.
going 4,000 miles.
Right.
They're probably
Right,
at the gas
exactly.
station up the street.
Yeah, absolutely. So where do you see yourself and the industry going today,
2
next
more
week,
years.
this year? What do you think?
I say 2 more years.
Of
And I hang it up.
you hanging up in 2 years. Okay. So
I,
what do
I,
you
it's because
what are you
I
seeing
had a
happening for
goal.
these
I had
2
a goal.
years?
Nothing. I don't see anything different happening than it getting better, just because it's we're paying more for leads now, yes, but the leads are 1,000 times better. When you can doing 90% SEOs,
Mhm.
and I can give someone 10 or 15 calls a day, and they're closing, if they get 10, they're closing 7.5 to 8, sometimes 9. And they're making, I pay them a flat 10% of the entire job, plus 2.5% if they break 25 grand, plus cash bonuses for,
Yeah, it's similar to what I have. So I have you got your commission, then you got your bonus if you're hitting certain thresholds, then you got your team bonus. If the whole office is a specific number, then you get the percentage of that number depending on what you contributed to the number.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. That's not a
Yeah,
bad
so
idea.
let's say you like, for example, let's say that your goal for the month is $1 million, for example, let's say, right? And let's say you have a rep that book 30% of that, and let's say your bonus pool, let's say you make $1,000 or whatever, right? So you have somebody that book 30% of that million, they get 30% of that $1,000, and so on. It depends on their specific contribution to the goal, because you're not going to divide it evenly, because you're going to have a hitter that's booking 30%, and you're going to have somebody that's booking 5, then you're going to have somebody that's booking 10, 25. You want it to be fair. So fair would be the percentage of what it is that they're contributing to the overall goal.
But maybe that's we can agree to disagree on that one for a minute, because I see it as the guy that gets it work for it. Yes, may have be gotten a lay down or something, but did everyone contribute to it? Yes. But that guy that well, 20 grand from that, I think he deserves a lion's share of it.
Oh, but that depends. If your goal for the month is $1 million, what does it matter if you have a guy that, for example, does not hit 20K every single day, for example, right? But he's consistently hitting 15, 17. versus a guy that hits 25 once, you know,
I,
for
he's
example.
gonna get an extra. He's gonna get extra on
Well,
the
I mean,
side.
there's no wrong way or right way to do this,
No,
really.
no,
You
that's
can
why I said that.
toss, you can toss an
I never
amount up
even.
every single day, and whoever hits the, you know, whatever the amount you make as the goal for that specific day gets that extra whatever it is. You know, so that there's a million ways to do this, but the point is that you need to keep people motivated. So that's the bottom line, really.
And that's what it is. I mean, it's
If
all
its
about
motivation is there, and the other thing too is that, like, we have a board that we update all the time. So the way that we work in my office, it's not about who gets the credit card. Anybody here can get a credit card. You know, it's about who's done the most work. So if you came in and you did all the inventory, you created a connection with your person, right? And then you're off the next day, and one of the other reps just takes the credit card and books the job. That's the job of the person who did the most work.
absolutely 100%.
So like, to me,
100%.
that's an important part. So because of that,
And
that's the
if they're even
dynamic, nobody here feels like they're being undercut by somebody else. There's moving company owners that I've met, they want
as soon as that happens,
atmosphere where everybody hates each other because they think that everybody's going to go and undercut their stuff and book their jobs. That is wrong. That's not the way to run this. You want it where everybody is a team versus everybody against the world, you know, and each other.
and there's a reason. I mean, went the cliche of, there's no iron team, but I mean, like, stand up to a TO for somebody. There's no other managers around,
Yeah.
or even if you're a rep, or and I'm not gonna take any money from you. You're not here. You're out sick one day, and I booked 2 or 3 jobs because they came in. They called back for you, which
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still in the one call close game, so
Well,
everybody
everybody is, but it's not always up to me and you. We're gonna close a bunch of one call calls. We do all the time. But there's still
99%.
right, but you're still going to get those people that are not going to make a decision without talking to their significant other. They're not going to make whatever, no matter what you throw to them as an alternative. You're going to get people like that.
I say that no, it does, and I think maybe in almost 20 years, I've maybe gotten 20 callbacks, because
of course you got to do everything you can in your power, honestly.
Absolutely.
With honesty, not by doing
100%.
some
We had that
with
discussion
honesty,
earlier,
right? With honesty and integrity, you got to do the best you can to close something right there and then. Of course, we all want one call close, but you also got to understand that if the big part of your business is long distance, for example, look, I've had customers that it took me a year to close because there were things that were changing in their life. The house wasn't closing. There was this happened. There was that happened. There was a relocation for job. Now, there wasn't a relocation for job. There's military. There's not military. There's all sorts of things that can happen that are not going to be in your way on making that one call close. So there's certainly things around that. And there's also, I say this over and over again, there's also a fine line. I let my reps decide how often they need to call the people that they have already reached and got inventories with and made a connection with. There are owners out there, and I've run into them, that they think that you need to call these people 2-3 times a day, every single day, no matter if you reach them or not. Wrong. You don't want to leave. They may not book with you, but you want them to not book with you and leave with a good thought about you and your company, and not with a bad taste in your mouth, because that spreads. You're going to end up losing a lot more than you gain.
I agree with you 100%. And I do 2 days, that 3 times, unless it comes in at nighttime or whatever, but
if you haven't reached
call
somebody,
5 times.
if you haven't reached somebody, my
Call
thing
it 2
is
weeks later. Call it 2 weeks later. You're going to book the job.
right.
100%.
If you have not reached the person, now that's a different thing altogether. If you've not reached the guy, I don't care if you call him 2-3 times, 2, 3, 4 times a day. I don't care, as long as you don't do it at the same time every single day. And to me, you don't stop following up. You don't stop calling to them until the moving date passes.
What's your biggest overhead?
My biggest overhead, leads.
Leads.
You need to get maximum out of it. Oh, for me, it isn't, because I don't buy leads. But
Well, I mean,
my people are the biggest expense for me. But that's fine. That's
so
your
maybe
biggest
we
resource also.
we have something else to talk about then, and when you're done here, I want to hear this side of it.
Okay, we'll talk.
You don't have to tell your secrets, but you
I
know,
won't.
I'm a fairly intelligent guy, but you have me a little baffled right now. So very interesting to be able to catch up with you again, if you don't mind.
No, of course,
So,
absolutely.
you know,
But at this point, and we'll continue this, but at this point, Devon, thank you very much for joining us for the podcast. And as I always say, let the world moves on its own, so let the professionals move yours for you. Thank you for tuning into our podcast, and have a wonderful day. We'll see
you
you
too,
soon.
man.